Welcome to day 25 of our free sewing class. Today is day 25. Day 24 I did not upload any lesson because we only had a short time on a WhatsApp group. So if you are looking for day 24, you might not be able to see any video because I didn't upload any video. I didn't upload any lesson. We only had a meeting on the WhatsApp group. So today, which is day 27, we'll be learning how to cut and sew a flay dress or a flay blouse. A dress or a flay blouse or a flay dress have almost the same concept when cutting it. The only difference is the dress is longer, that is, it is a dress, while the top is short. So, but the way you are going to fold it is almost the same. That is why I am combining this lesson. So if you want a dress, you use a longer length, and if you want a top or a blouse, you make it short. Then the neckline and the sleeve depends on you, on what you want. This one is a gown, but it has flay, so you just make it short, then you add flay to the length. All right, let's start. This is the fabric I'll be using to sew this blouse. I'll be cutting a top. So once you have your top like this, your fabric like this, the first thing, what you do is to fold it like a flay. Let me show you how to do that folding with a paper. So when you pick your paper or your fabric like this, you fold it. Did you see the way I just folded it? That is how you're going to fold. So when you fold it like this is a flay fold. Then at this part I'm showing, that is where you pick your back. Depending on what your back is, you make sure that place accommodates your back divided by, that is your shoulder divided by 2. If your shoulder is 60, for instance, it must be 8. You divide it by 2. Then from that line that I drew, you mark the length of your top or your gown. You see the way I'm marking it? That is how you are going to mark the length. Sometimes if your material you are using is by 45, maybe like an Ankara, you might have to join it. You might have to do joining. But if it is by 60, depending on the length of the gown you are sewing, at this point you see that is where your armhole will be. So that is how to fold. Let's go back to our fabric so that I can explain better on the fabric. Alright, so the way I just showed you is the way I will fold this fabric. And it is plain, so I will just fold it that way. Now the more you make your fold, the larger the fullness of whatever you are sewing, either a top or a dress. So if you want it very full, then you make your fold very big. Now I want to be sure I have my back divided by 2. The back I'm using is 16, so I'll divide it by 2. That is 8. I must have 8 at that point. Once I have 8, then I will confirm maybe the length. If I draw my 8 here, maybe the length of my fold is enough for the blouse I am sewing. I have to confirm that part too. So if it is not enough, then you keep adjusting your fold until you get the length that you want and the back. I hope it's making sense. So I'm just trying to show you the lower part. You see, as you go down, it becomes fuller. You see, that's the lower part. So I want to be sure it's up to the length of the blouse I intend to sew. Let me just adjust and come back to show you. Alright, this is it. I am done folding and I have the length, so I'll just draw my line. And like I have been saying, like I always say, my 3 and 5 standard, I always do it, except if I'm sewing boo-boo. So I'll just draw that line, and on that line I will mark my 3, mark my 5, and mark my 1.5 shoulder slope. So after doing this, then I will now work on the armhole. If you look at the top or the blouse or the dress we're trying to sew, the bust part is the only fitted part. Every other part is not fitted. So for this blouse, the measurement you need is your shoulder divided by 2. That is what I'm putting at this point. Then I will go down a little. You know, I like putting it twice. I'll put the 8 here and I will draw my straight line. I want to get the armhole. So once you get the shoulder measurement, you put your armhole depth, then you put your bust. Those are the 3 measurements you will need. And the length, 4, and the length of the blouse or the gown. So that is my armhole I'm putting at that point. Then at that point, that is where I'll put my bust divided by 4. My bust divided by 4. If you want it free, you can add ease allowance. Then I will add 1 inch as my sewing allowance. Now to make my armhole curve, you see this point, I will measure 0.75. You can measure 1 inch. It should be between 0.75 to 1 inch. It shouldn't be too, the curve must not be too much, so that it won't be funny at that point. So I'll just measure 0.75 and then I'll connect it to make the curve. The next thing now is to measure the length. Like I said, if it is a blouse, then you should know where your blouse will get to. You measure the length of the blouse. If it is a gown, you measure the length of the gown, and that is basically what you are going to do. Now I must say that this type of blouse, if you want, you might put zipper at the back, but most times you don't really need to put a zip. So what you do is your neckline, when you cut the neckline, make the neckline big, make it big enough to pass through your head. So that is what you are going to do. Or you put a slit at the back. If you don't want the neck to be too big, maybe you want a very closed neck, then you need to put a slit either at the back or at the front of the neck, so that your head, it will be wide enough to pass through your head. So for this one, I won't be putting a zipper. All I'll put is a slit at the back, and also I will make my neckline big so that it can pass through. Alright, I'm just trying to show you. You see, that is the lower part, that is the length. You see, that is the length. So the next thing is to connect that my bust point, that line at that point, to the end of the blouse or the dress, as the case may be, depending on what you want to sew. So after doing this, I'll cut it out and I will use it to cut the back. And since I will not be putting zipper allowance, I won't be putting zipper, it will be the same. I'll just use the front to cut the back, and that will be all. Then I will now teach you how to cut the neckline and how to sew. So after using the front to cut the back, the next thing is to work on the neckline. Let's work on the neckline now, depending on the type of neck you want for it. But before I work on the neckline, I will adjust the armhole. Then if you are doing an off shoulder, you come in a little like I just drafted. So I'll do the neckline, and I'll also do the armhole. Depending on the type of neckline, if it is V-neck, if it is a round neck, I think this has to do with practice. Over time, you understand how, if you mark 3 inches, if you mark 3.5, if you mark 4 inches, how wide it will be. So I want to do a V-neck, and I did 3.75 width by 6 inches deep. I don't want it to be too sharp. That's why I want to use this ruler to redraw that line. I don't want a very sharp V. So the neckline comes with much practice. You understand the neckline. So that's my neckline for the front, 3.75 by 6 inches depth. And since there won't be a zip, I will do back slit. For the back, I will do 3.75 by 1.5 inches, and I will add opening like a slit. That is the front. So for the back, I will do 1.5 inches depth. I'll do 1.5 inches depth, and I will do 3.75, and I'll connect it. So it will be more like a round neck or a scope neck. Then, so that my neckline will be wide enough, I will do a little slit at that part. You see, that is the back, and this is the front. You can do a front slit, you can do a back slit. It depends on what you want. But for me, I will do a back slit, just something tiny, maybe like 3 inches depth. And at this point, I want to work on the armhole of the front. You should know how to go about that by now. So now for the back, I will open a little slit. So you see this slit, that is I'll put button at the slit. Now I want to cut my facing, because I'll be using facing. We've learned how to finish different neckline. Also, I have not done anything about lining. There are times you have to line your material or your dress, your top or your skirt. So I'll just cut facing. Just watch as I will do the facing, as I will cut the facing. Facing is just something tiny cut with the material, with another material that you use to turn your neckline to make it neat. Okay, so I'm on my machine. I cut a little strip because I want to use it as my loop, because I want to add the button to that slit, that small slit at the back. So I just want to make a little loop so that it will serve as what will be holding the button. I already turn it. You see what it looks like. So I cut just a little, and I will use it. I will just sew it on the right side of my blouse. So after attaching it, you can attach it to the right or the left depending on where the side you want your button to be. So after attaching it, I will now pick my facing and I will sew my facing. I'm using a contrast color here. Also, always learn to use your the color of your clothes. But here I'm using a contrast color so that you can see what I'm doing. I already attached that loop. So the next thing is to put my facing right side to right side, and I will sew. I tried to follow the shape, and when I got to that slit, I made a V sewing, because that's the shape I actually wanted. So did you see it? The next thing is I will notch and I will understitch. You should understand what I meant by understitching by now. So after doing that, I will take it to my ironing table. I will iron, I will sew the front, and basically that will be it. Did you see it? So I'm understitching at this point. So once I'm done using the facing to turn the neckline of the front, I will iron, I will join the shoulder, and I will join the sides. I will join the shoulder, I will join the sides, and I will fix my sleeve depending on the type of sleeve you want to put. For me, I want a short sleeve, so I'll be adding sleeve. You see, this is the neck for the front, and I'll just connect it to using the shoulder. I have taught how to do this. You use the facing of the back to turn the front, and you will sew. So that's how I'm going to join both shoulder. After joining the shoulder, this is what it looks like. So the next thing will be for me to join the sides and add my sleeve. Depending on the type of sleeve I'm going to you want to add, so you can do whatever you want at this point. And did you see the back slit and the loop that I added? So I'll just add button at that part. And basically that is what it looks like. Just add yours, join it, add your sleeve, then do your hemming at the lower part. And like I said, if it is a gown, this is how you're going to cut it. You just make it longer, and this is how exactly how you're going to sew it. All right, just keep washing, and I will stop talking now. If you have any question for me, drop it in the comment section, and I will see you tomorrow in another lesson.